All right, they're lining up, and this is to be expected when a big old tax measure comes up. A small business, some real estate groups coming out against the Republican plan, saying it's going to harm them, and as a result, it's going to harm you. That's the push they're going to make. The Freedom Caucus still is supporting it. To House Freedom Caucus member, Arizona Republican Congressman Trent Franks. Congressman, great to have you back. Thank you.
I always appreciate you having me on, Neil, always.
Same here. So, Congressman, you've heard from some of your colleagues. A lot of them seem to be coming from these high-tax states like New York and New Jersey. I think there are 4 by last count who say they don't like this measure and would likely be no votes. How do you win them over, Congressman?
Well, first of all, accuracy is what's most important. I couldn't help but hear your discussion about Twitter earlier, and some of the Democrats obviously have been tweeting out stuff on this package before it even became known to the public, and they completely deceived the public. Even the Washington Post, when Democrats said that anyone under $86,100 would receive a tax increase, or essentially on the average they would receive, that was blatantly false. The Washington Post gave it to 4 Pinocchios.
That's right. And you can't get any more Pinocchios than that. No.
Translated, that means blatant damn lie in the Washington Post language. So that's most important. In terms of the deduction for state and local taxes, I think that taking that provision, leaving it as it is, to create a situation where some states subsidize others takes away the ability for the states to be the laboratories of the nation, and it incents the Democrat-controlled high-tax states to continue to do that. If people really want to help lower the taxes in their state, they need to embrace this plan, because it puts pressure on the states, whether they're Democrat or Republican, to reduce those taxes so that they can compete with other states. That's good policy. All
right. You might be right. A lot of those states come back, though, Congressman, and say, even in the high-tax states, they end up giving a lot more to Washington than they ever get back. We could argue that until the cows come home, but I do want to...
True enough, but they'll get more back under this plan than they did before.
Down the road, that's what the hope is, I guess. But if they are, and they do remain no votes, these congressmen from these states, are you worried that it's going to be more of a battle, certainly a battle to get this done by Thanksgiving in the House, than was earlier thought?
Well, I'm always concerned, Neil. I think that there is the momentum here to do this. I think it's very important, and I think probably one of the things people will miss if they're not careful. They'll say, well, you're talking about how much will this reduce my taxes, but what they really need to keep focus on is what this is going to do to the economy and what it's going to do for their wages, how it's going to impact the whole nation in a positive way. And, under Ronald Reagan, we saw over 4% economic growth after his tax reduction. And I mean, that was almost twice as much as what we saw in the Obama years. So I hope people will realize that this is not just a tax cut. This is an economic stimulus that's real. That's not some government plan to decide how we wanted to stimulate the economy, but it puts more money in the hands of the people and lets them stimulate it. And I will tell you, the American people, you should never bet against them. If they get a chance, they will show the world who America really is.
How do you think, looking at the Senate, that will go, especially your colleagues in your wonderful state, John McCain and Jeff Flake? How do you think that's going to go?
Well, you're probably looking at the foremost critic of the Senate rules, because it's hard to get anything to the floor. So, we're using reconciliation here,
right,
which is controlled by the Byrd Rule. Now, I don't want to get too esoteric.
No, you're right.
But the Byrd Rule in this case is going to be not so onerous, because this is going to be mostly about taxes and budget. So we're not going to have such restriction on lateral negotiations as we do. This may be the one chance that we have under these asinine Senate rules to do something of significance. And I hope we can.
Do you think they're 2 yes votes, those guys?
I think you're going to perhaps even pick up a couple Democrat votes on this thing. That is, if they want to come back.
Okay, real quickly, I mentioned Jeff Flake. Are you interested in running for Senate? Your name comes up a lot.
I know, and I appreciate that. I sincerely do. I'm not trying to be falsely humble. I appreciate it very much. But I came to Washington for policy and not for position, and I'm not going to run for that seat at this point. Maybe something down the road will happen, but I'm happy where I am, and we're doing some things that I think matters. And I wish Jeff Flake the very best God can give him. And I don't really know what else to say about it,
all right,
Neil.
I was hoping to embarrass you and lock you into a
position. Yes, sir. Well, you did.
All right. So to catch you off guard. Congressman, thank you. Very good seeing you. Have a safe weekend.
And you, sir. Thank you.